Happy New Year. At this time, we'll call the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, City of Saltillo to order, January the 3rd, Tuesday, 6 p.m. If you all rise for invocation.
Lord, we love you tonight. We thank you for another beautiful opportunity to represent our great town. We ask that every decision made tonight be made according to your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
may be seated. Thank you all. For the board members, the agenda for tonight is in front of you. There are some slight modifications. We'll get to that momentarily, but first I want to present to everyone the Honorable Judge Reynolds.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Mayor, you ready to take it up?
I'm ready.
Would you raise your hand, please? I state your name.
Greg Billings. Gregory Billings.
You repeat after me.
Okay.
Do solemnly swear,
Do solemnly swear,
as mayor of the city of Saltillo,
as the mayor of the city of Saltillo,
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and statutes of the state of Tennessee,
the Constitution and statutes of the state of Tennessee,
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Saltillo,
and the charter and the ordinances of the city of Saltillo,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all appointments and all other business before the mayor, board of mayor, and the aldermen of the city of Saltillo,
in all appointments and all other business before the board of mayor and aldermen of the city of Saltillo,
vote without favor,
vote without favor, affection,
partiality,
or prejudice,
and that I will not promote or assent
and that I will not promote or assent
to any ordinance,
to any ordinance,
resolution, or vote, or take part in,
or take part in,
or consent to any act
or consent to any act
that appears to me
will
abridge the rights and privileges
abridge the rights and privileges
of the citizens of the city of Saltillo
of the citizens of the city of Saltillo
and the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Tennessee.
and the state of Tennessee.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, let me just give you a brief summary of what we just did, because it may appear a little strange to many. We were all sworn in as aldermen in the last election cycle. And in my appointment to the mayor, I was not sworn in again. So by being sworn in as the mayor at this present time will give me additional authority to swear new aldermen in if another seat comes in, such as tonight. Tonight, the Honorable Judge Reynolds will swear in that new alderman. But it also gives some other latitude and authorities based on the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. So that's why we're doing that tonight. Not that any other previous business was inappropriate or wrong. I was still acting in the place of the mayor and had all of that full authority of that based on your appointment. So I want to let you know that where we were with that. I do also want to tell the aldermen, and we'll get to some of this a little bit later, I emailed you an agenda for your review. I emailed you the candidates' letter of interest and resume regarding their interest in being an alderman for your review, and some other information for you to review for tonight's meeting. So at this time, we're going to move into the aldermanic nominations. And so we have the representatives, which you received letters from, Mr. Randy Carter, Mr. Steve Turner, and Mr. Ricky Withers. Those are the only three that submitted their intent to be in the position of an alderman for the city of Saltillo. They submitted it by the appropriate deadline. It was reviewed by me, and I'm certain all of you have already reviewed it. And so before we begin nominations, what I would like to do is give those prospective aldermen an opportunity, if they wish, to speak to you about their intent and interest and why they would like to serve the city of Saltillo as an alderman. And so we'll start. I don't know that I saw Mr. Withers come in, Ricky Withers. He is not here tonight. That does not eliminate him from being nominated simply because he's not here. So he has still submitted his information by the deadline. Mr. Steve Turner, would you like to say anything to the board?
Well, it's my second chance, I guess. I just want to try to serve Saltillo, the people of Saltillo. That's the main thing, and try to keep the city above, just want it above and beyond. Do it right in a Christian manner.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir. Any questions from the alderman? You should have read his intent and letter of interest and things like that, okay? And then we have with us Mr. Randy Carter. Would you like to say anything to the board, sir?
Well, I'd just like to thank the board for allowing me to at least participate. You know, I've been a lifelong citizen of Saltillo, and I want to see it grow and prosper, and as we all do.
Okay. Thank you. Board, since we did not ask any questions of Mr. Turner, it would be inappropriate to ask questions of Mr. Carter. Okay? Okay. All right, so the floor will now be open for nominations of the alderman. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Mr. Steve Turner.
Nomination for Mr. Steve Turner. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Randy Carter.
There's a nomination for Randy Carter. Are there any other nominations? So we have two nominations. We will call for a vote on both of those. And if there is a tie for some reason, we will have to resolve that as well. I will resolve the tie vote. With everyone, I will resolve the tie vote. So, the first nomination was from Mr. Turner. That was from Alderman Reeves. We're gonna call for question. Ms. Carolyn Wood, yea or nay?
No.
Ms. Teresa Morgan, yea or nay?
No.
Ms.
Nay.
Maynard, yea or nay?
Nay.
Yea?
Nay.
Okay, nay. And then Alderman Reeves,
Yes.
okay? You got the vote recorded? Okay, Mr. Randy Carter will call for a vote. And to be fair, we'll go the opposite direction. Nathan Reeves,
Nay.
Ms. Maynard,
Yea.
Ms. Morgan,
Yeah.
Ms. Wood.
Yes.
Okay. So it appears that the vote has been cast, and Mr. Randy Carter has been named or appointed the new alderman for City of Saltillo. Okay. Mr. Carter, at this time, we're going to swear you in as an alderman. If you'll step over here, I have a paper for you to sign. If you put your name here, you just print on the top. And then you'll sign there, yes, sir. And if you'll help the judge, and the next line, you'll also print your name. Right here. And you can hold that in case you have to refer to it. You'll turn that way, and again, I present to you the Honorable Judge Reynolds.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Would you raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me? I, state your name,
I, Randy Carter,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear,
that as a member of the Board of Mayor and Alderman of the City of Saltillo,
as a member of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Saltillo,
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and statutes of the State of Tennessee,
the Constitution and statutes of the State of Tennessee,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Saltillo,
and the Charter and ordinance of the City of Saltillo,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all appointments
in all appointments,
and in all business before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Saltillo,
and all other business before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Saltillo,
vote without favor,
vote without favor,
affection,
affection,
partiality,
partiality,
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
and that I will not promote
and I will not promote,
or assent to any ordinance,
assent to any ordinance,
resolution,
resolution,
or vote,
or vote,
or take part in,
or take part in,
or consent to any act
or consent to any act
that appears to me
that appears to me
will abridge the rights
that will abridge the rights
and privilege
and privilege
of the citizens of the city of Saltillo,
of the citizens of the city of Saltillo,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
and the state of Tennessee.
and the state of Tennessee.
Congratulations, Mr. Officer.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir. What we will do now, thank you, Judge, for the services in both of those areas, and you're welcome to stay, and if you need to go, you're welcome
I
to
think I'll
leave.
try to find my way back.
Okay, we appreciate it. Well, you know, we will be in touch with you. We'll
Thank
be
you,
in
sir.
touch.
If
Yes,
I
sir.
can help, let me know.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Congratulations again.
So, at this time, we're gonna have Mr. Carter to step to the seat here, and I would just be, I wouldn't get too comfortable, because we may end up having some switcheroo around, based on, other business that we'll have. So, as you have your seat, I wanna make sure you understand, and, you have been provided a city charter, okay, that you can review. It is current and updated. Also, I believe you probably have some familiarity with this position or being an official capacity for the Hardin County and otherwise, but this is a guide for newly elected aldermen, so that things may be new to you and being back in the political ring in Hardin County, city of Saltillo, that you might want to refer to. So with those being said, I do want to make sure that everyone knows, not only on the board of aldermen, but in the community, that if we have, for some reason, another vacancy, the same process will follow. And like I said, we really want to encourage all of the citizens of the city of Saltillo to be engaged in the process. Not only just to watch a video that may be posted out there, but to get engaged in the process with city business, be involved in the meetings, put your name in the hat to run for the next election, for the opportunity to be an alderman or mayor or whatnot, because it's gonna take all of us to make things work. So I appreciate everyone that gives that part of their time, their effort, and, you know, a lot of your life, to help this city grow and prosper. So, thank you for that. So if you look at your agenda, what we need to do at this time is to review the minutes.
The Saltillo Board of Aldermen met Tuesday, December 6, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall for the regular monthly meeting. The meeting was called to order by Mayor Billings, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with invocation given by Alderman Reeves. In attendance were Mayor Billings and Alderman Morgan, Maynard, and Reeves. Alderman Wood was noted as absent. The minutes were read with a motion to approve from Alderman Reeves. Second motion by Alderman Maynard. The minutes were approved as read. The mayor and board were provided with a copy of the expense and revenue report for November 2022. Old business. Number 1, Tennessee River Rendezvous. Discussion tabled. Number 2, nepotism policy. Discussion tabled. Number 3, doctor's office. A lease nor contract was signed by Voices of Savannah to lease the facility. At this time, the organization has declined to move forward. Any interest in renting the doctor's office should contact Mayor Billings for additional information. Number 4, siren grant. Bids were received from Precision Communications, receiving the bid. The grant totals $96,948.69, with matching funds of $13,771.33. A motion was made by Alderman Morgan to accept the bid and approve the matching funds. The second motion was made by Alderman Maynard. The motion passed with all aldermen in attendance voting yes. Number 5, Van Hoos property. A motion was made by Alderman Maynard denying the request to exempt a portion of the Van Hoos property from the city. There were no further motions. The motion failed. Alderman Reeves made a motion to accept the Van Hoos request to exempt a portion of his home from city taxes, with a second motion by Alderman Morgan. Alderman Reeves and Morgan voted yes. Alderman Maynard did not cast a vote. The motion failed. New business number 1, Resolution 2022-03. A motion to approve Resolution 2022-03, declaring an aldermanic vacancy was made by Alderman Reeves, with a second motion by Alderman Maynard. The motion passed with all aldermen present voting yes. Number 2, Resolution 2022-04. A motion to approve Resolution 2022-04 to support the Tennessee Riverline River Towns program, was made by Alderman Reeves with a second motion by Alderman Morgan. The motion passed with all aldermen present voting yes. Number 3, repairs to the community center. Mayor Billings advised Gibson Roofing would complete repairs to the community center totaling approximately $2,500. Mayor's report. Mayor Billings advised that construction of the Blue Oval in Haywood County is expected to impact our economy in the future with more tourism. Mayor Billings met with the tax assessor who advised that Saltillo has definable boundaries. The comptroller's office concurred. Financial report. ARPA funds were received in November. Account balances for the period ending November 30th, 2022 totaled $294,969.39. Alderman report. Alderman Maynard advised that there was a large turnout for the Christmas event and parade. Expenses for the event totaled $323.80, plus the cost of porta potties. A special thank you to volunteers was extended including the Saltillo Ruetan for the downtown decorations and Rebecca Dawson's work on the holiday mart. Departmental reports. Chief Young advised that the Saltillo Volunteer Fire Department attended training November 15th and 16th. He also advised that 3 new volunteers have joined the department. Food boxes will be distributed December 13th from the fire department. Lastly, Hardin County filed for a grant for breathing apparatuses. A total of 6 were included in the request for Saltillo's fire department. Updates will follow. Citizens' comments. Jennifer Barca, a Saltillo resident, posed a question about a second police officer. Mayor Billings advised that there was a recent resignation from our part-time officer. General discussion from several members of the audience regarding support for the Little Red Shed. With no additional business to discuss, a motion was made by Alderman Reeves and seconded by Alderman Maynard to adjourn the meeting. The motion carried and the meeting was adjourned by Mayor Billings.
We have a motion to accept the minutes as read.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Alderman Reeves.
I'll
Second.
I will.
Okay. Second by Mr. Maynard. All right. So we'll vote for a new alderman. Mr. Carter, yea or nay?
Yay.
Alderman Reeves,
Yes, sir.
Maynard,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
and Alderman Wood.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I did, one of our department heads is Chief Young. I did see your acknowledgement, but, and I'm gonna let you speak, but typically, the alderman will be the only ones to make an adjustment.
I wanted to point out the dates were wrong with the reported, what I reported.
Say again now?
The dates she reported,
Okay.
that she said that I reported were wrong dates.
Okay, what should the dates be?
5th and 6th.
The 5th and 6th, not the 15th and 16th. Okay, so, as we have, we did have a discussion, I kinda overstepped that because he caught my attention, but, we've already approved the minutes at this point, but we will make an amendment to fix those dates. Were there any other amendments, oversight on my part for not having a discussion? Okay. All right, I do want to address, although the minutes have been read and they are correct, the Van Hoos property, I'm going to address that later in the agenda here in just a minute, so just keep that in mind, okay? Amendments have been approved, thank you very much. Are there any additions to the printed agenda? Alderman, have any additions? Okay. Old business, the Jimmy Van Hoos property. I want to make sure that not only all the aldermen understand, but members of the community that may watch a video understand that in the last meeting was kind of unusual. We had not all the members present, but we did establish a quorum. With that, in item C4 in your charter for the city of Saltillo, section 10, there must be at least 3 members to vote in favor for a motion to pass. So the minutes were correct. However, there's a procedural issue that we really didn't have to do, but we did anyway. And what I want to do is make you look at old business number 5. Mr. Van Hoos, who requested by letter to exempt part of his property from the property tax. Alderman Maynard made a motion to deny or his request for an exemption. Well, you didn't really have to do that because he's already paying the full property tax, okay? So what the vote was to exempt him from a portion of that property tax. Well, that didn't pass. And so he will be, what's the word for it, Ms. Jackson? He will be assessed the full value of the property based on our city tax rate, okay? What I do want to mention in line with that, if this comes up in the future with another property, what I have found out from the additional discussion with the property assessor, comptrollers, and other people, MTask, our liaison, that it's not part of the house in taxes and other parts not. It's the entire house in taxes or the entire house not in taxes, okay? If there was some reason that the city chose to exempt someone from paying property tax that part of the house within the city, that would cause the city to redraw the entire city boundary around that house. So it's a lot more involved than just saying, look, we just want to exempt somebody from 20% of the property tax. So just keep that in mind. The entire property must be taxed or none of the property must be taxed. And that's the way I understand it from our legal help with MTask and property assessor and people like that. So do y'all have any questions about that at all? That's just for information because that motion already been made and it failed. Any questions? Okay, all right. I know the city tax is new to all of us, only being in it for a couple of years, and there are a lot of questions that still come up and clarifications need to be made. So if anybody at any time has questions about that, they're welcome to call and we'll get, if we don't have the answer immediately, we'll get it, okay? All right, let's move ahead. New business. A resolution to appoint a vice mayor. Let me also mention, before we get started, that our charter for the city of Saltillo does not identify a vice mayor in this charter. It's okay to identify someone in our city to say this person is the vice mayor, because basically what we're saying, that gives them the authority to carry on the business in the absence of a mayor and to sign checks in the absence of a mayor. And also it will help us to address some separation in financial duties that we would discuss in our audit here later on. So you could say the vice mayor, as far as the charter, would be unofficial, but it will be a point person that you nominate tonight and appoint to assist in carrying out city business in the absence of a mayor and to assist with signing checks and financial responsibility. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions about the position and what it means and what it is? So at this time, we'll take nominations from the alderman for vice mayor.
I nominate, Ms. Maynard.
The nomination for Ms. Maynard has been presented for for vice mayor. Are there any other nominations?
I'm gonna nominate, Preacher,
Alderman Maynard will nominate Alderman Reeves.
Alderman Reeves.
Okay. So we will call for question. Alderman Morgan. Oh, let me clarify. Alderman Maynard was the first to be nominated. So that is what you're voting on right now. Again, I will be the deciding vote in the event of a tie. Okay. So Alderman Morgan, yay or nay for Alderman Maynard?
No.
Nay. Alderman Wood, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay for Maynard. Alderman Reeves, be yay or nay for Alderman Maynard?
Yay.
Okay. So is that, what is that, 3? 3 and 1? Oh, wait a minute, our new alderman, I'm just overlooking. Alderman Carter, does that be yay or nay? Nay? Yay? All right, so what's our tally on that?
3-1.
3 yays, 1 nay. Okay. All right. I think proper procedure would be to give the vote for Alderman Reeves as well. So Alderman Maynard, yea or nay for Alderman Reeves?
Yay.
Alderman, Carter, yea or nay for Alderman Reeves? All right, you got it? Okay. Did I say Alderman Maynard already? Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
yea, and then Alderman Wood,
Nay.
nay. All right. Tell us where we're at, huh?
3-1.
Okay. The deciding vote will be Alderman Reeves. I will say yea for Alderman Reeves. He will be the vice mayor.
Congratulations.
All right.
Thank you,
Will you accept the appointment as vice mayor?
I will.
Okay, all right, so he is set appointed. So again, the duties and responsibilities, there's no need to swear him in. He's really, just like I was, he's an alderman that will be assisting in our city business and signing checks and things like that, so, all right. Okay, thank you all for that. Let's move right ahead. The nepotism policy, this has been on the agenda many weeks at a time. I would make a recommendation to table that once again due to other business that we have tonight. Is there any objection to tabling that again?
No, because I've read through it several times and I really have a lot of questions, so I think we
Okay.
should table it.
We'll table it. Anyone else have, sorry, we'll table it again, okay, thank you. All right, so approval of ordinance, this is something that's somewhat new, and I will be real honest with you. This is almost like the 11th hour and 59 seconds on getting this finalized, because we have some things we want to clarify with city business, and we'll get to some of that when we talk about our audit. But it is in our ordinance, that we basically don't have an ordinance that's regarding a purchasing policy. There is not one. It was recommended to us by MTAS and the auditors that we need to make sure we have a process defined in how finances are used, allocated, spent, all those kind of things. So before you is an ordinance, and I would make a recommendation, I will read it to you basically. I'll make a recommendation of ordinance 2023-01, ordinance of the town of Saltillo to adopt a purchasing policy and procedures. Be it ordained that the Board of Mayor and Alderman Town of Saltillo that the mayor is hereby designated as the town's purchasing agent. The attached document entitled the Purchasing Policy and Procedures is here adopted in reference to incorporate herein as in fully set out with a link in this ordinance. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon adoption. Basically what this says is we are establishing a very specific purchasing policy, and as the mayor, I would be the purchasing agent. What has always been the case is just hadn't been an ordinance about it. If you had a big city, someone else may actually be the purchasing agent, but anyway. So do I have a motion on the floor to accept this ordinance?
That's on move.
Okay, I got a motion by Alderman Carter.
I'll second it. Does this, used to, I thought you could spend up to $4,999.99.
That is not necessarily correct. If it were at one time, there is no ordinance established that
That says
guides
that.
us. And I will review some of that because this says the purchasing policy adopted. So we have a motion and a second, so we're in the process of discussion. So this is the right time for that. So is there any other discussion about the ordinance? Okay, and then I will clarify with the guidelines and things like that if I need to. But first we must adopt the ordinance. And this basically says only that we have a purchasing process. That's all it says. And that I would be the purchasing agent. So that is the ordinance.
Is this just between these dollar figures?
Okay, so you're looking at the
1,000 to 2,500?
yeah, so if you look at this purchasing policy and procedures, this has the ordinance that we're adopting attached to it. And so this is the policy procedures based on the state of Tennessee auditing procedures. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing to you, I know you just got it tonight, but what it says is in paragraph 2, the authority for the mayor to spend money is $1,000 and less than $2,500 on any given thing, okay? Anything beyond that, if you look down the second paragraph, a description of all projects expected herein provided that required expenditures of city funds of $2,500 or more shall be prepared by a purchasing agent and submitted to the governing body, which is you, for authorization to call for bids and proposals. So what this does is, what Alderman Maynard asked, there is no $4,999.99.
Yeah.
That does not apply. For us to establish a very specific purchasing policy, this will apply. But I do want to note for you, look at the last page. Very bottom fine print with an asterisk. This limit may be lowered or increased to a maximum of $10,000 by the governing body. We are not there. That will take a vote by policy to make any changes to this. So as of right now, that limit will remain $2,500 unless this board votes to increase that limit, which you will have the authority to do so. But the other details, if you notice, there's some attached Tennessee Code annotated on the back of this. There are some things that can be purchased above $2,500 based on situation, based on governmental contracts, things like that. But basically, this is a very specific policy to make purchases and control our finances within the city. So just for note, this other little letter, let me just read it to you because I know it's new, and this is just a letter. With the help of this guide, our city can create the most efficient purchasing operation possible. By clarifying the procedures, both the using department and the purchasing department will benefit from the time saved obtaining materials, equipment, and services. The main function of purchasing department is to aid all departments within the city by securing the best materials, supplies, equipment, and service at the lowest possible cost while maintaining high standards of quality. One purpose of this manual is to explain city buying policies and to serve as a general framework and guide for purchasing decisions. To have a good purchasing program, all city employees directly or indirectly associated with buying must work as a team to promote the city's best interest in getting the maximum value for each dollar spent. As revisions or additions of this manual become necessary, new pages will be added to it. And this guide is the purchasing guide that is the Tennessee governmental purchasing guide. Is that the correct title? Yeah.
It's following Tennessee Code annotated.
Yeah. So that's just a cover letter that I've tried to get to you regarding that. So there you have it. That is, any additional questions about the ordinance? Okay, we'll call for the question and a yea and nay. Yea is an approval of this ordinance. Alderman Wood,
Yay.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Alderman Reeves,
Yes, sir.
Alderman Carter. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. You knew I'm gonna get it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And it's a yay. Okay. So this is a good thing that we will be able to really focus our spending plans and things that we do, so that you'll be well informed and have a little bit more oversight in purchasing as we move forward. Okay. All right. So that is that policy. All right. I will sign this one. Yeah.
Would you need to have a motion for that one too?
Okay. All right, so, yeah, so we'll backtrack just for a second, because we just filled this out as we nominated Mr. Carter, or appointed Mr. Carter. Resolution of, and I recommend, a resolution of Saltillo, Tennessee Board of Mayor and Aldermen appointing Randy Carter to fill the unexpired automatic term of Greg Billings. Whereas pursuant of Section 8 Saltillo Charter, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen has been adopted. I believe you can read the rest of that Randy Carter has been appointed to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. So do we have a motion to accept the resolution 2023-01, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
On the question, yes.
That's a motion from Alderman Maynard,
Second.
second from Alderman Morgan. Alderman Carter, you're going to have to abstain from this one. Alderman Reeves,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Wood.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, or the ordinance passes, thank you. What about the vice mayor? We don't need a order for that yet, that's right. Okay, all right, so we're moving right along. One of the things that I thought I had on here as far as the purchasing policy, that now that we've adopted the purchasing policy, we have an issue, and where I'm at right now is the mayor's reports, I believe. We have an issue with our doctor's office. And so what I want to do, and if I'm going to get up here for a second, I want to share some photos with you regarding the doctor's office. If we're going to recruit a physician, nurses, doctor, practitioners to come in, we're going to have to do some roof repair and some inside repair. It can be extensive. So I'm going to pass these pictures around, and you can ask questions about this. But what I'm asking you tonight is to approve, and we will vote on this, to begin that purchasing process and the bid process. Because I'm telling you, this is more than $2,500 worth of work. I've been on a roof with a contractor who is a roofer and looked at some things. These are some pictures that are involved. You can thumb through them, but some of you may not really know what they are, but a lot of the screws on the old roof are, let me pull one that is very important to you. Here's an example, and more of them probably don't need. That's where the roof is, the ceiling's falling in inside. This one is the ceiling that is extremely deteriorated, just where that came out. You can see it looks pretty bad there. And these are interior, so what we will do, if you approve it, we'll focus on the roof repair first, because all of it at one time may be quite expensive. But if we can't get the roof fixed, there's no need in finishing the inside. Here's an example of a hole in the roof. I'll pass that one to you. I got a couple of clean pages in here. You'll have to look at this one closely, where screws are sticking up out of the roof an inch. This one is where the roof is not even screwed down. The water's going back in the side of it. Flashing that is not secure between the doctor's office and the firewall where the barber shop is, it's leaking down that wall. A lot of it is coming from the hole that you have. You may be able to see a couple of screws. Here's a better example of the screw. Now this is not one, so what we think we have to do is replace every screw in that roof. And I've got, I thought I had another photo here, which is the most telling of that. Whomever repaired the roof before, they cut a hole in the roof and put a piece of patch in it, and lo and behold, I don't have it in here. And they did not overlap the metal. They put the repair below the current metal. I thought I had another picture in here that I don't guess I do. But we're not going to replace the whole roof. We're going to replace all the screws, fix the flashing, and then fix the overlap where the leaks are. I don't think we need to fix the whole roof, but like I said before about the gym and doctor's office, the gym area, we've got a lot of infrastructure things that have to be corrected. And if we don't fix this, it's going to get worse. So what I'm asking the board tonight, and I will make a recommendation, that we begin the bidding process to have that roof repaired. Now what I mean by that is, we're not deciding to repair it tonight. You're giving me the approval to begin even looking into the fact. That's what our purchasing policy is, okay? So knowing that my limit is $2,500, I can't even make the decision to get started. You have to do that. So a recommendation has been made to begin the bidding process to see what it will cost us to fix it, get our 3 bids for that work, and then we will, you as the governing body will determine who receives the bid and does repairs. It won't be the mayor, it will be the board to make that decision. Okay? So, do we have any questions before, I'm making a recommendation, so we'll probably need to do that first. Is there a motion to begin the, bid process?
I make a motion.
A motion by Alderman, Morgan, second.
A second.
Okay, Alderman Woods, second that, discussion. This is the time where, if you got anything specific about the process, I can share that with you.
Well, if we don't fix a roof, you might as well forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
You've already got bad wood inside.
Yeah, and I will entertain any alderman that wanna go, because I got the key, and, to get in there, and I've been in there at least twice a week, especially today, I went over there today, and, it's still leaking, water's coming in.
Is this in that one room in the back?
That is in that one room, and then there's some stuff over on the side, and then there's some pictures of some bathroom stuff where it's leaking down the wall. And I will tell you, the prospective tenant that we had earlier, they kind of mentioned some issues with the roof as one of their reasons why they are not participating. That may not be all of it, but that was just one issue. But I will tell you, and I'm not a construction person, it's not in good shape, at least from a professional roofer standpoint. Because I've had them before I knew all this other stuff that we had to do to get things fixed. You got to figure out what really needs to be done before you can even begin a bid process. So he advised that if we replaced all the screws, tighten them down, get it sealed down, fix the flashing, and then fix that hole. So anyone that we ask to look at it, they will all be asked to do the same thing. So that one won't say, well, I'm just gonna replace the screws and not do anything else, or I'm just gonna fix the flat. They all have to bid on the same work. And then the lowest bid is the best quality, or however it would work in our purchasing policy, so. Any questions about it? Okay. Okay, we've got a second, so we'll call for a question. Alderman Woods? To begin
Did you?
to begin the bidding process.
Yes.
Okay. Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Alderman Reed,
Yes.
Alderman Carter.
Yes.
I got it right, got it right that time. All right, so we will begin that process. You will be informed and updated. Weather's bad, rainy, it is what it is for now. And so I will tell you all, and I will tell anybody in the community. We got our maintenance person here, Mr. Jernigan. We got a fire chief here as representative, but if you know people that are in this business of roof repair, specifically metal roof, I need numbers and names, because the ones I've talked to around to get my own stuff fixed is some slim pickings. So if you know people that are in that kind of business, we are going to present that based on what the purchasing policy requires for the state of Tennessee. Okay? So there are some limits. You get up to like $10,000, I think. There's some additional things that have to be done. Anything that's below that, we can have verbal or informal bids, like a local contract, and write it out on a piece of paper and give it to you.
Email it and
Yeah.
things like that.
So, okay. All right, so that passed, okay? Very good. Other issues on mayor's report. You have some information in front of you about streetlight data. This is just for your preview. We've had some questions about streetlights. What it costs, I'll give you a second to find it. Mr. Carter, you should have, I think we stacked your table up there a little bit. Okay. Okay. So, the streetlight data and information is gathered from Lexington Electric. It's a lot of stuff there. As I found out, it's not real simple to determine the cost of what a streetlight costs, because there's a lot of things that could happen. So I made a few notes just in case we have to install some streetlights. We did early on, prior to my mayorship, talk about putting lights in Davies Davies Landing, and then some other people have requested some streetlights and things. But this is just a general average. So if you look, I put our city currently has 151 streetlights on the books. 138 are 100 high-pressure sodium lights. They cost us about nearly $1,000 a month. Then you got 12 400 high sodium light. They couldn't tell me where all these were, and I'm still looking at that. But that's some, I guess, some electrical jargon that. But you can see how much it costs. Okay, a regular street light, one street light, is going to cost anywhere from $8 to $10 a month if they just go out there and just stick it on the pole. Because they do have a fee to put it up, but if they don't have to put a pole in the ground, of course, it doesn't cost as much, because you got a service charge on that. But one light runs about $8 or $10 a month, and so if you look at street lights for Saltillo, for a month, it's $1,000 thereabout, the way they estimate. It's not my estimate, this is from the electric company. And then for the year, I put the other street lights there. And then 10 lights, approximately an additional $1,200 a year. If you're gonna put in 10 more lights. But you gotta put in if they gotta have a pole, a street light really needs to be put on a pole that already has a transformer on it, or in very close proximity. And the reason I know this, because I had to call them about 20 times to get a halfway understanding of it. But the finance folk helped me out a lot with this. So I do want you to note the bottom thing. I think what we need to do as a board, and this is just for information, we're not deciding on streetlights tonight, but you need to study it and think about it and what we look at in the future. Traffic safety. A street light, if we've got a traffic safety issue, let's say it's at a end of the road dead is into the highway. I'll give you a perfect example of what I think is a concern for our city. The entrance to Half Moon Lake has no street light, and it comes right out on 69, right off a hill, okay? It's dark at night down there. That's an area that we might want to consider. Hazard area, be it maybe a dead-end road, not necessarily a highway, or may it, give you another example, and I'm using Half Moon because we've had some requests out there. There's a little bridge that goes across the pond a little bit. There's no light right there. That's a hazard area. Somebody, if they're just looking around at night or got lost and they don't see the little bridge because it's kind of one lane, they could very easily drive off into the lake. So hazard spots that may need to be considered. Community security, be it the ball field or the park or something that is important to a secure neighborhood. Not for personal security, like your own yard. Putting a street light in your own yard because you want it lit up more than what it is. So there are a lot of things to consider regarding street lights. So if y'all have any questions about it, I know we're going to be talking about these later on, but that gives you some real data when we get to the point of talking about can we afford to put lights in? Do we need to put lights in? We have other requests that we need to entertain. This will give you some guidance on what would be best practice.
So right now,
Okay.
the city pays approximately $13,164 a year for
Street lights.
streetlights only.
Yeah. Everything that's currently existing.
Wow.
So you take that total charge, and these three at the top are directly from the Lexington Electric. They looked at our bill and told me. Now, the reason it's we got 3 bills from Lexington Electric. One of them has the sodium lights at 100 high pressure. I think it's what it is, high pressure. And the other one is the 400 high pressure. So the one floodlight, I asked them, said, tell me where that is. Well, they can't really tell me where that is. I don't know what it is. So I asked them, so tell me where the 12 400 high pressure lights are. They could probably do that, but it's not an easy thing for them to identify that as far as the way I understood it. Now, I'm sure they can get down to doing it and tell us, pinpoint it at some point, but for us to gather data, they've got, I don't know how many lights in the whole county, for Lexington over there. So it's a lot to do, but this was the best information they can give us, and I think it's good guidance for us. They were very, very helpful and supportive of getting this data so we can make our best decision.
Good.
Not to mention they also hang a Christmas light and help us with those kind of things.
They're good people.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? All right. All right, so that's street light data, and again, we thank Lexington Electric for providing us that information so we can make better decisions in the future. I got a note here also on my report about the sunshine law. So I want to just, Mr. Carter's new with us tonight, and that's one reason I had this on the agenda, just to remind him, myself, and everyone else that our procedure moving forward will be, I will email you the agenda, and I will email you the document that you need to study for the meeting. That's perfectly fine, that's well within the Sunshine Law. It's an open meeting act. If somebody wants to know what I sent to Alderman, it's very easy to establish. We just can't discuss it before the meeting. So in your day-to-day activity, Mr. Carter, I believe there's a note on Sunshine Law in that packet I gave you, that if you run into each other at the store and casually talking and you kind of get in that area of business, you can't discuss business and things that's gonna be on the board meeting anywhere. You run into each other at a Christmas party, birthday party, can't do that. Can't text each other back and forth questions about what's going on in city business. So, because of the I guess social media world and text messaging, we all need to be conscious that you don't need to discuss business that's gonna be on the board meeting, okay? But take a look at that. I just wanna make sure you all have that information, and the guide that all of you have already received, it's the guide that I gave you earlier that Mr. Carter's received. Is a lot of wealth of information there about things you can and can't do, things that are beneficial to you as an alderman as you move forward for the next 2 years, there, Mr. Carter. So we appreciate your service on that. So just be aware of that.
But you can talk to the people on the board and everybody else as friends and
Absolutely.
decorating the,
Yeah.
whatever we're doing.
Absolutely.
That's not,
Yeah.
I mean, I just want
Chance
that,
encounters, if all of you show up to the gym to a concert and you talk and have fun, that's perfectly fine.
okay.
You just can't talk about city business.
That's-
So, because people see you in close proximity and having a conversation, that's fine, as long as you're not talking about city business.
Right. Well, a lot of
So,
people assume that, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all know that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
just part of being in this office, that people
Right.
will, watch your actions.
Right.
Being above board and above reproach is always, and, Alderman Reeves is a pastor, he understands that as well, that people are always watching you. So you need to make sure you're always above reproach.
Right.
So, okay. Let's see, what else do we have on our meeting? I apologize for going so long tonight, but we had a lot of stuff to do. Speaking of open meetings, I am calling for a work session, January the 17th. I don't know if you have your calendars with you or not. I'm gonna say 6 p.m. right here. This work session will be a review and discussion of our financial status and our calendar. There will not be any decisions made at this meeting. This is simply a work session for you to be able to ask questions and understand more about what we're going to review here with our financial policy in a minute. So, because Mr. Carter is new to us as of tonight, it will help him to get a fast start, as well as some others of us that may have had a question about, well, is it the cumulative budget, or is it just this month, or how much did we spend on this? This will be the meeting, because you will be preparing a budget in the future. So the more you know about the budget and what columns add up and things like that, it'll help you to make those decisions. So the work session, January 17th, anybody have a calendar conflict?
6 p.m.?
6 p.m., yeah. Any calendar conflicts? Anybody? Good. So that'll be a work session that must be posted. We'll post it here on our bulletin board. We'll post it at the, on the door outside, on our website, and other places, social media. We'll let everybody know. It's open. Anybody in the public can come if they want to. Maintenance folks can come, and the Harts are here. Miss May, she worked with our senior citizen. She can come. It's open. We will just simply discuss what it is and give you a chance to ask questions. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I would recommend that we post it at the post office,
Okay.
because a lot of older people that do not do mass media, go to the post office.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, posted, okay.
Yeah, I always
So it'll
post
be
at
posted
post
there,
office.
okay, good, good comment, so it'll be posted there as well, so, like I said, the community's more welcome to come out for that. All right, so financial report, let's get down to that. As we begin our financial report, you have an audit in front of you, audit book. I do want to address a little bit of this. This is the first night that you've received this. I made a note on a couple things that I want you to take account to, and then you can look at this on your own. Y'all have it with you. From Godwin and Associates, first paragraph, year ending in June 30, 2022, dated December 19th, 2022, okay? Significant findings. This is qualitative aspects of accounting practices. I'm gonna start with the third sentence because that's the most important. We noted no transaction entered into by the governmental unit during the year for which there is lack of authoritative guidance or consensus. All significant transactions have been recognized in the financial statements in the proper period. So that is a good thing. Difficulties encountered in performing the audit, we encountered no significant difficulties. I will attest that Ms. Jackson has been on the phone with auditors and our financial people off and on and off and on to make sure we have everything just like it should be. So she's done an outstanding job with that. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements, about the third line down. Management has corrected all such misstatements. And Ms. Jackson, I'm going to just ask you to speak to a gist of what misstatements they were talking about.
That was on payroll taxes. I pay payroll taxes out of the general fund, but I pay some salaries out of street aid for maintenance. We had to physically write a check from street aid to general fund to correct it. It was simple, just a simple thing.
Yeah.
But it was a misstatement because I did not pay taxes out of street. I paid it all out of general,
And so,
which is kind of common.
yeah. So when we're dealing with auditors, and I'll give you an example as a former school principal. This year I got one auditor. They want things done in this line and this line and this line. Next year I got a different auditor. Well, their opinion is different. They think this should come out of this line. So it's not necessarily an error per se, but it's just a misstatement of it. So
Perception.
it all comes down to being right in the end, but they do ask you to adjust certain things. But anyway, so there were some misstatements that were corrected. So that's the main point. We did what they asked us to do, and all is good. There were no disagreements in management, and of course what happens, and I'm just telling you, as a former principal, that we might have a little finding about a fundraiser or something, and then I want to argue my point. That is not the case with the city of Saltillo. They have done their business appropriately, and we have communicated appropriately, and we have resolved those misstatements as they asked to do. There wasn't any hard feelings from us about why they're picking on us. It wasn't any of that kind of stuff. We were just doing business to make sure it works, okay? And then if you turn to the second page, there's some other stuff here you can read. This is specific to the vice mayor. Due to the nature of the size of our organization, duties are inadequately segregated regarding collection, recording, and dispersing funds. Management should continue to keep all board members involved and informed. And let me just tell you, this is if you look at all the past audits, this statement is on every single audit because we are a small town. Ms. Jackson writes the checks, she signs the checks, she deposits the money, I sign checks, and so with the vice mayor and things that we purchase, he may request the purchase, I approve it, and then Ms. Jackson would pay it. And so that would be an example of a separation of duty. It wouldn't be me, hey, I want to do it, I sign the check, and then ask her to write it. That would help us to be a clean process, that there is no question about that separation. So it's really a protection for everybody involving another party. If we had a big city, like Mr. Jernigan, I use him for example since he's on maintenance, or our chief, Young, they come in with a request as a department head. I approve it, and Ms. Jackson writes a check. Well, that's perfect. That's perfect. Sometimes we have to do business where I have to make the decision to buy it, and approve it. That's what we want to try to avoid. So, any questions, anything about the audit statement? Okay, so I would just tell you, great job by Ms. Jackson in this, that everything you see that it says that we've corrected, we had no issues, we took care of business as necessary. So good work on that. This is a very difficult task, and I will tell you that MTask, our financial people there, Eric Spencer, our attorneys, and all the auditors that we work with, they all help us to do this right, so that we can carry on business without any question, okay? Financial report, let's take a look at that. These are the things that we also can question and answer during the work session. So if you look at the first page, account balances, I'm gonna start at kind of at the bottom. We have $288,717.80 of all funds. So we're in good shape. We'll get to that on the other part. I do want to note, part of the work session, the $98,034. We were talking about that amount. That is the ARPA funds. We need to determine at some point how we're gonna use those funds, because it is a considerable amount of money, and as I expressed before, we've got a lot of infrastructure things we need to address and hopefully use that, but we need to plan it out, identify our priorities, and make those things happen. So we'll discuss and brainstorm some things at the meeting, and then when we come back to a board meeting, hopefully we can have some discussion and some motions to move ahead, okay? Street aid, $30,000. This is an example of what Ms. Jackson was talking about a while ago about misstating. We had to move some money around, correct? Yeah, had to move it around a little bit. River Day, you see that, $5,870 there. Park, $5,159.13. Fire currently has $1,927.38, and our general fund is $147,602.89.
And that was with the $13,000 for insurance that already come out of the general fund too.
Right,
When I
yeah.
ran this.
Yeah, so the $13,000 is a fee that we pay for liability insurance, and it's sizable. So you think about the money that we have coming in, the ARPA funds don't go for things like that. We can't always count on APR funds. That's just a one-time deal that we know of. All right, so, okay, so if you look at the next page, or pages of two, this statement of revenue and expenditure, you can see, and this is our budget. This is our budget. The first page is the money that we have in the bank, okay? But you also see our budget. We are now in the, I guess December was the 6th month, right, in our budget year. So you can see the remaining amount to spend, or if we were over anywhere, which we don't really have that issue, but you see the revenues. We don't budget revenues. Revenues are what they are, okay? They're gonna come out. If you look at the top, property tax, you can see that. Year-to-date actual, I think tax money is due, what, February 1st? All of it.
28.
February
Yeah,
28th.
28.
So you will see next month a little increases, people come in and pay taxes. And you have some other local sales tax and beer tax and things like that. I jokingly said last week that, you know, our beer tax and liquor tax, that, you know, that comes to us. So if you look through the expenditures, there's a whole list of those things that you may want to study this a little bit prior to our work session. If you have questions and clarifications, you will see on here some things like street lighting, maintenance, repair. There are, several things with electric meters, electricity, that are typical of our operation. So some of these expenses are every day, every month, every year expenditures. And some of these things may not be every month. So you'll be able to go through that line by line to see the expenditures there. And then the final page, it shows your total revenue over your expenditures. And you'll see that we are doing good with our budget and actual year to date. We're doing good. So that last page is probably the most important that we are budgeting appropriately and spending within our means, and that is good for the city of Saltillo. So any questions about anything dealing with the financial report?
I have something.
Okay, go ahead.
Especially these, like repair, maintenance, and supplies that's broken down by police, fire, and whatever. My plan is for me to give you all a breakdown for the planning session, so you can see why we went over.
Right.
Because I'm looking at, the one for police right here. Right now, we are over $789. So I'll pull a breakdown for things like that
Okay.
for all of you to have. And then I'll break it down too, so you'll know what belongs to police, what belongs to fire. And if y'all need anything like that, if you'll just tell me prior to that night, I'll make sure that I have everything together for you.
Yep, and let me do mention as, as the new mayor, that we are not just doing this in a vacuum. We are asking the MTASC and the financial people there to assist us in planning and using our funds appropriately, helping us with our audit, because we want to make sure we remain solvent in the black. We don't want to overspend. We don't want to put ourselves in jeopardy. Our payroll that we have is pretty large for a small town. So we want to discuss all of those things with MTAC to help us to really identify what needs to be done and to keep the city solvent in our financials. Okay, any other questions at all? All right, let's move right ahead. Alderman's report. Do I have any reports from any alderman? We did one last month about the parade, and also we covered that. Any reports at all? Okay. All right, and department reports, we have Chief Young. Do you have any report tonight at all?
The only thing I have is our last month, we all recertified CPR.
All are recertified CPR.
Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent. That's a good thing. What about Narcan train? Do y'all get that too?
Yes.
Y'all
We're
good on
current
that?
on that.
Okay, good, good. Let me just sidebar for a second. I want to caution everybody that this Narcan issue and the drugs that are out there, that you need to be, I say, careful where you are in the world, in the community. But this Narcan training will save people's lives. So I'm glad the fire department is part of that. And so just be cautious, be aware. So I appreciate the chief of getting everybody trained and certainly CPR. I hope I don't need your services, but you know how to do it if I do. Okay. Senior citizens, you have anything you want to report at all, Ms. Brewer?
No.
Okay, we appreciate you helping us up there and all. What about Mr. Journey? You the only representative here from maintenance. You good? These maintenance folks work behind the scenes. You don't always see what they do. Some people see them doing a few things, but there's no way to see it all. One of their major tasks is right now getting our shop in an orderly condition so we can operate professionally, and they've done an awesome job getting that area cleaned up and making it look nice. I will say the same with Chief Young. He's working on getting the fire hall a little bit more organized and getting things looking good. The fire truck looked awesome at the Christmas parade with a new wash and all that kind of stuff. So our employees that we pay, we don't pay them a lot, but they do a lot more than what people see. So just keep that in mind.
I do have one question for Young, I guess I should ask you or Kenny. What about the complaints that were written up on properties and building and code violations? What is the update on that? Are we gonna get an update on that? What is the?
You will. I have told Chief Young at the moment, as I step in the office, to put a pin in some of those things, because he and I need to review the specific ordinances and what they say.
Okay.
I know he knows a lot of this stuff, but I want to make sure that he is reading the same thing I am. He is identified as our ordinance and codes enforcement officer, but we need to make sure that we're looking at the code and things. So I've told him to wait just a minute. Let's get some clarification on some things. So you will be getting a report, but I've told him don't get too fast and some things that you might have been working on. We want to slow it down a minute and make sure we're following procedure.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we are.
Okay.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that, you said you was going to ask them to donate some food or whatever you have for the senior citizen.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Brewer, why don't you step up here, since you're a department report, you can make your request right now. Okay.
I'm asking y'all to help me out because I do feed the seniors that come up there twice a week. So if anybody got anything that they wanna donate, just bring it up there to me, you know, and I'll fix it up. Just don't bring nothing concerning peanuts,
Mhm.
cause I got some in there can't eat no
Or
peanuts.
you want like fresh food, canned food,
More like,
a gift
If you-
card? Is that better? Or,
canned soup or
okay,
hot dogs or.
Cake
Okay.
mix.
Well, I will carry that home
So-
and make
so-
cake, cause I'm gonna fix one when I go home.
So let me sum it up for Ms. Brewer just a little bit. So she's requesting from the board and the community donations for the senior center. They don't have a budget, they don't, get a lot of money. Now, some things in our center we can repair and fix for them. But we as a city cannot go out and buy food for them. That's not an appropriate use of city funds for us to do that, based on our purchasing guidelines from the state. So what we're asking, so that we can kind of build up our seniors, to get more involved, is to have a light snack, or have a lunch, be it canned goods. If you got a ham you wanna take by there, they got a refrigerator. They've got ways to cook it. They'll take hot dogs, canned goods, or, what about bread? A loaf of bread here?
Yeah.
Now, we don't wanna overwhelm them with,
overwhelm 'em.
20 loaves of bread that they
No,
can't eat. But mostly stuff they can keep for several days, because they do have a good, group up there that meet regularly, and it's a good outing for them. They are up there all day, so you gotta have some snacks and things, and so, we as a community want to support that activity, so that's what they're asking for, okay? Sodas,
Sodas, yeah,
okay, all right,
coffee, tea.
yeah, okay.
But right now, we're not drinking too much coffee.
No coffee? Okay.
Just every now and then,
so
but if you
let
drink.
me ask a question here. So Miss Morgan, Alderman Morgan, I think you were designated the support person for the senior citizens, right?
Yes,
So can people contact you if they have donations?
that'd be great.
And that she doesn't have all the social media stuff, right?
That's right.
So we need a point person to kind of help gather that in some means, so it might be good for you to either get with her or post it up on social media or something, and that we can gather some donations for them, so, yeah. And, we'll see how that goes, and, one donation a quarter may last them a good while.
Wow, yeah.
So we don't necessarily need donation every week, but if we.
No.
what days are y'all up there, Miss May?
I'm up there Mondays and Wednesdays.
So that's when the people come, the
That's
summer
when they
ladies.
come, yeah. Mhm.
That's when they come, it's Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
My pen brushed on, I got ink all over. All right, so yeah, thank you for that. So at this point, citizens' comments, concerns, and commendations, anyone in the community want to share with us? If you do, don't forget to state your name and address, so that we have anyone in the community want to speak. Yes, sir, Mr. Hart.
David Hart, 165 Main Street. Going back to the street lights that you were talking about, have you inquired with the electric company if there's any new technology that might use less energy? Maybe at an even further upfront cost, but over the long term, reduce the amount that's being spent each month.
Right. Yeah, I did talk to them about some LED lighting, and at the time, that was a few weeks before I got the financial data, but when they come out, well, our current street lights, when they come out, they kind of replace a few here and there. They're not just coming out and putting everything in at one time. The way I understood it is that they're kind of like 50% across their entire services. They're changing them out a little at a time on their entire services. So of all the areas that they serve, they're working their way through that. So that, I'm sure that's coming the rest of the way to us, but that's what we talked about.
I was specifically speaking to any new additions, and then if that seems to be working out, then possibly looking at retrofitting the old.
Right,
But-
yeah, so if I understand what you're saying, so for instance, I mentioned, we had talked about putting in 10 lights. So I can request those 10 lights, say, hey, when you put those 10 lights in, will you put them in LED? I think they will work with us on that, the way I understood it, so we can request it, yeah.
If there's less energy consumption that way,
That's right,
then the electric bill is cheaper each month.
that's right. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you for that, very, very good information. Anyone else? Okay, so, if there are no other, comments, commendations, concerns, I will, call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Meeting is adjourned. So, Alderman, if you'll step right over here before you leave, I've got a document for you to sign regarding the